Hi, and welcome to the last segment of our class, Intro to Building Systems. This time we're going to be talking about plumbing systems. Plumbing systems have three main parts: the supply, waste, and venting. The supply is the water that's coming into the building, the house, and its distribution throughout. Waste is water exiting a plumbing fixture or appliance, and venting is the vertical piping which allows the escape of gases up through the roof. The supply of water to our homes and buildings can come from one of three areas: from a municipality, such as the City of Portland, from a well on one's property. That would also include a well pump if there's any pressure issues, and harvesting, primarily harvesting rainwater in this case. In the City of Portland, our water that is delivered to our homes and buildings is pressurized, and the promise that they have is that you will have water pressure of 30 psi, pounds per square inch, for a water supply at 3/4 inch diameter. Your water supply for a well is going to vary with the amount of rainfall and the usage that you have. Most places, certainly in the state of Oregon, require you to have the ability to have 5 gallons per minute come from a well. And wells do require regular testing. They ideally, if your well water comes from an aquifer, it's going to be quite clean and not require any treatment of any sort. But groundwater can get contaminated by agriculture, both through fertilizers and from livestock. So we test to make sure that there aren't things in the water. And I will say that the municipalities also test for Giardia and things similar to that to make sure that our water supply is safe for drinking. If you are harvesting rainwater, it also, the amount that you have available to you will vary with the amount of rainfall and usage. It is code approved, and you are required to have a way of sanitizing the water to ensure that it is safe for drinking. UV light is a very common way of doing that. And for, depending on the size of your household, a supply of 7,500 gallons will probably last you 10 plus months for an average size family. This information is in your reading too, but I want to reiterate the supply sizes for water. Again, this is water supply to your fixtures, your faucets, hose bibs. The main line that comes in from the well or the city is going to be a 3/4 inch, and we're going to use that 3/4 inch if we have 3 or more fixtures that are going to be served from that line. So a standard bathroom that might have a shower head, a faucet for the bathtub, a toilet, and hot and cold water, that's going to be more than 3 items that need water. So it's going to be that 3/4. We're really going to keep that 1/2 inch for things like a powder room or a half bath that just has a lavatory for washing your hands, and a water closet, which is also called a toilet. Again, more nomenclature. Or possibly in a kitchen where our water supplies tend to be limited to one sink and a dishwasher if we have it. Now, if there is a possibility of a fridge being plumbed, it could be that, or if there's more than one sink that is designed to be in a kitchen, we would go up to that 3/4 inch size. Our interface with the framing is that everything that's going in our walls, as we see in this image right here, the holes are pretty small. Again, 3/4 or 1/2 inch diameter lines. So they're going to go through our wall studs. We would have similar holes drilled into a joist if it was floor joist going perpendicular, or it could be parallel, just like we saw with our ductwork. And then it's either going to go across our ceilings in attic spaces or in our floors, between floors, or if it is a basement or a slab on grade. Remember, all the plumbing has to be in place before that slab is poured, and if any renovation needs to happen, replacement or changing the location, that means you have to trench the slab to dig up the supply or waistline to move them. The materials that we use for our supply, there's quite a few. Most houses have, new houses have switched over to PEX, which is a plastic-based plumbing lines, and they are colored blue and red. Plumbers like them because blue is used for cold water, red is used for hot water, and they're very flexible. They can move around. The image on the previous slide was PEX. The connections where it comes to the faucets often will still be copper, and in better quality older homes, the plumbing would all be copper. Now the downside of copper, copper is great for plumbing because it is very stable. It doesn't corrode very easily, and it's one of the prime reasons why copper is desirable. However, it does require every single joint needs to either have couplings like we see here or be sweat soldered on site. So it's more labor, and it is also not as flexible in that every time you change directions, it's a joint. The third type is galvanized, and we do see galvanized. The image that's in the upper right-hand corner is actually a cold water supply to a toilet tank. That's the sort of water supply you see, and that actually has a shut-off right there. That's what that sort of oval-shaped item is halfway up, so that if you do need to turn off the water to the toilet, it's got the shut-off there. Our supply of water tends to come at a cooler temperature from the municipality, from a well, even rainwater harvested tends to be a cooler temperature. Again, if you remember that the earth 10 feet down tends to be in that 50 to 60 degree range, most of our water comes in around that sort of temperature. But for many reasons, we like to have heated water, such as bathing, washing our hands, washing dishes, washing clothes, etc. The two options are to have a tank hot water heater, or to have a tankless system. And in the images that we have here, we are showing both the larger tank types and smaller tankless. The water tanks heat water 24/7, so all the water in the tank is kept to the temperature that it's set to. Usually it's 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and that means that anytime that you want hot water, you open the faucet by turning it, and first all the water that's been sitting in the pipe between has to run through, which is why it's not immediately hot. But then you get that warm water, and that water is going to keep being that temperature until the hot water tank runs out. Most houses are going to have a 30 to 50 gallon hot water tank. It can depend on the number of users, and there are also some very petite water tanks that are available as well. I will mention, and probably a lot of you have experienced this, that if you are running through a lot of water, that the tank might not have a chance to warm all the water that's coming in to replace the water going out. And I certainly have been the fifth person on a tank and had that cold shower. Now, a tankless water heater does not hold water in it, but it runs the water through and it heats it instantly. Sometimes these systems can be referred to as an Insta-Hot as well. The output is anywhere between 2 gallons per minute and 8 gallons per minute. Again, you set it to the temperature that you want. Typically 120 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature. And it is important to keep in mind what your gallons per minute of different fixtures might be, so that if you are setting up a tankless system, it's sized appropriately. The plumber can help you figure out a size, and knowing the gallons per minute is important too. Now, our fixtures are getting more water efficient all the time, lowering our gallons per minute using air entrainment to create what feels like more water pressure without having as much actual water come through. So it might be that we reach some equilibrium.